Hello, and thank you for tuning in to part 2 of this video. In my last video, I left off by saying that there was a third type of writer, and I had discussed what a pantser was and what a planner was. So let's get into the third type of writer. And I don't know if there's an actual term for this type of person, but I'm going to call this the cut and paste writer. What I mean by this is a writer who basically takes information from one source, takes information from another source, and another source, and another source, collects up all this information, and just copies and pastes it into a book. Your basic cookbooks, nonfiction, historicals, biographies, all that stuff. Now, being this type of writer doesn't take a lot of creativity. It does take a lot of hard work to actually do all the research and to actually gather up all the appropriate information. But in the ways of creating something new and original, it doesn't take as much for this type of writer as it does for, let's say, someone creating an entire magic system, an entire world, an entire government that is different from what we have in regular reality. I don't want to say these people don't put in any work, because they put in probably a lot of work to accomplish what they have to accomplish, to make sure that their facts are 100% correct. Because if somebody ends up finding out that their facts are incorrect, that can hurt their sales. That, to me, is the third type of writer. So, going back to fictional writers, though, which is usually where you'll either find your pantsers or your planners, these are the two types of writers there are. As I said, I'm a pantser, and I'm proud of it. I'd like to hear your thoughts. What kind of writer are you? Do you prefer to plan out every detail to your story? Write on character sheets that you've created with index cards and notebooks galore detailing every little note? Or do you just sit down and start typing and seeing where this story takes you? To me, it's more fun to be a pantser because it's almost like I get to read the book before anybody else. Yes, I'm creating the book, I'm writing the book, but I get to experience the way my readers are going to experience it. If I already knew every tiny detail, I wouldn't get that same experience. Because I know, at the end of this chapter, this guy's gonna die, and this is what's going to happen because of that, and then this is what's going to happen, and that's got to happen, so this has to happen. It's just, I already know the story. The way I'm doing it as a pantser, though, that can change. I can have an idea, and then I introduce some new detail that I just suddenly think on the spot might work better, and it does, and it's like when Doc Brown talks about time travel and Back to the Future. Just one little added new detail can skew your storyline into a whole new tangent. I can't tell you the number of times this has actually happened in my own story. Hell, I have a detail that I thought up of for actually will be revealed, a big secret that has been hinted at through every single one of these books. There has been a major secret in the books that will finally be paid off in book 6. I know the secret. And I can't wait to get to that part, because although I've thought of like 5 different ways to do this, I don't know which of those 5 I'm going to go with in the moment. I know what's coming. I know the secret. And I didn't think of this secret until I was almost done with book 2. And when I thought of the secret, this one detail, I had to go back over the first and second book. And I had to look at it and say, can this work for my story? Will this be a good thing at the end of book 6? And it kind of turned out that, yeah, all the puzzle pieces, all the clues, everything that I would make this work so perfectly was already there. And I had no clue that I was actually setting up something so perfect for the end of this book series. Which is why I'm super excited to finally get it out there and finally be like, yes, this is gonna blow the audience's mind. This is gonna drive people crazy when they find this out. And I've had this happen to me several times during the writing process. I had a character who was basically kind of the embodiment of good. And I flipped it on its head and said, no, I want him to have a dark past. I want to throw something into that relationship. And I don't want to say what it is, because although it's already been revealed in a book, it was, I believe, revealed in book 4. I'd rather you go read book 4 and find out for yourself. But I wanted to do something that says, no, not everybody is perfect. Not everybody is going to do things the same. And again, this is another example of something else that helps set up the end. It's not the only thing, but it is a major part. There are tons of little details hidden in this book series that people are going to read and overlook. There was something I thought for sure when people read book 1, they were going to be pointing it out, telling me I made a mistake. I did something so wrong that it really infuriated them. But then as the books went on, for those people who stuck with it, they were going to keep reading. And by book 5, when they finally got the answer to this huge thing that I thought was going to be so huge, it was going to click. And it was going to be like, oh wow, I saw it coming, but I didn't see it coming like this. I mean, it's like Snape from the Harry Potter franchise. You know something throughout the entire book series is going on with him. You know this. You can feel it. I think that's why people are so willing to forgive Snape in the Harry Potter franchise. Because all through the books, he is being a jerk. He is being an ass to Harry. And yes, I agree, there are times he goes way overboard. And I'm kind of curious if he really deserves the forgiveness that Harry gives him. But on some level, that trust that Dumbledore has in him keeps you like, wait a minute. Could he really be a good guy? I don't know. I really don't know. So I'm telling you, for those readers of mine that you've read something in book 1 and you thought, wow, this writer made a huge mistake, I don't make mistakes. Not when it comes to my story. If you find a grammatical error, if I missed a punctuation or a comma, or there was a misspelled word somewhere by some chance, even though I've had all the books proofread, I'm sorry if there's any everything like that. Some things, they slip through the cracks. But every detail in my story is written for a reason. There are no mistakes when it comes to the details. And I challenge any reader that watches this video, tell me if you find a mistake once you are done reading the series. Heck, tell me you find a mistake when you're done reading book 5. Now, if there are any extreme readers out there that do YouTube channels of their own where they review or theorize the end of books, I would be completely interested to see what theories and thoughts people have on this franchise and see if anybody can actually guess how book 6 will end. And probably in my next video, I will be addressing endings and whether authors change them or not. That's the real reading challenge. If you read through it, did you find a mistake or did you find something that can help you theorize how the book will end? Because I think by the end of book 5, you'll have an understanding. And speaking of book 5, I've got great news. This video is going up on May 3rd. I am releasing book 5 on May 10th. That's this month, May, and I can't be any more excited about it if you can't tell. So, if you have not started this series, I implore you, please, if you're doing this before the 10th, now is the best time. If you have to, start with the ebook. It's currently at a low price. I've just updated all the covers. I highly recommend, if you're going to go and check out my series, if you just want to check out the first book and get an idea of the story, start with the ebook. But if you like it, and if you want to continue, I can't recommend enough, go with the paperbacks. They're a little bit more, but I promise you, you will have a better time reading them. I have been told by several of my readers they love every inch of work I put into the paperbacks. Not only do I use special fonts for special things, I also use a different font size than most books. Because I did not want it to be overly big, but I did not want it to be super tiny where you get lost reading a page. I wanted this book series to be available to everybody, to please as many people as possible. I know I can't please you all. I already know that. My buddy tells me that all the time. Sean, you are not going to please everyone. But I try to please as many of you as I can. So if you do like the first book, if you have read the ebook and you want to continue, my suggestion, go with the paperbacks. You will get a much better reading experience by going with the paperbacks. So in closing, before I go, there are 3 types of writers: pantsers, planners, and copy and paste writers. Everybody is equal in their own way. Copy and paste writers, they put in a ton of research. So do other writers. Non-fiction and fiction writers have to do all their own research. Planners, one of the things that makes a planner good in their own right is the fact that a planner can take all their notes, all their information that they come up with beforehand, and they can do things with that information later down the road. Me being a pantser, I have tried this, and it oftentimes I have to go back and make those very notes that I could have made beforehand before I published. I have to make them after the fact. For example, I recently released a little side book, and a lot of the information in there, I had to go back over my actual published material and actually make sure I got all the information I put in the book and properly translate it over to this. So, while being a pantser, I have a lot more freedom and creativity. Once I write it and it's published, I have to sometimes go back and make notes later on to do other work, but that's fine. If I didn't enjoy the story, I wouldn't have made the story. So whether you're a pantser, whether you're a planner, you have the right to write however you want. I have watched, like I said, many channels on this platform, and they keep trying to tell you, or like the one specific person I know, she is a big self-published author. She has a big channel, and she basically, like I said, is a planner, and she makes you feel bad for if you don't do it that certain way. And I thought, oh God, does this mean that I'm going to fail as a writer because I don't do these things? I don't make notes. I don't outline. And her whole stick is that she's rude, that she says what she wants, doesn't care about how her audience feels. But that whole thing can send a very negative message. And I don't want to send that. I want to send that if you are that type of writer, go with it. Go with what feels right for you. Don't do something just because somebody told you to. You will probably find that you are some kind of cross. There are times, like I said, I am a pantser, but I think in my free time, away from, my free time is any time I'm not sitting down typing. Even when I'm not sitting down typing, though, I'm still thinking about my books. I'm still thinking about the story. I'm thinking about what could come next. And I come up with, like I said, 5 different possibilities, let's say. In all those possibilities, let's say I'm telling myself, oh, the character's got to go left at the end of the hall. He's got to go left. He's got to go left. But then I sit down to type and I say, but what if he goes right? Well, let's see what happens when he goes to the right. I know it's to the right, but the character doesn't know. And I've talked about that in a previous video. Sometimes you got to separate yourself from what you know versus what the character knows. So that's it. In closing, I hope this video has been very helpful. If you have not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing today. Make sure to click the notification bell. That way you're notified the second my video goes up. Because, as you know, I do giveaways on this channel. And with the upcoming release of Book 5, I might be putting out some bonus videos. So, to all of you who subscribe, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really love reaching out to you all and getting to know you on a more personal level. If you have any questions or comments or want to pitch me any ideas on what you'd like me to address in a future video, make sure to leave that in the comment section below. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.